Hey everyone, Mark the Movie Man here. Welcome to the final cut. We were gone on hiatus for a while. We are back, and what better film to come back to talk about than none other than Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. Yes, Star Wars: Rise of Skywalker, the apparently end of the Skywalker saga, the last in that Skywalker story. And here this film takes place after the events of The Last Jedi, where we see Kylo Ren in full dark side mode as he's becoming a terror across the galaxy, as he's in search of something that's going to help him, he believes, conquer the entire galaxy and rule over everything. Meanwhile, we have Rey, who is still exploring and trying to hone her Jedi skills and become the hero and the Jedi the entire galaxy is expecting her to, while also searching for who she truly is and her origins. Then we have Poe, Finn, and the rest of the Resistance, who is still trying to drum up support to help finally take out the First Order, who will not lay down and die. Rise of Skywalker is getting very divided reviews, and I'm going to say right now I enjoyed this film quite a bit. It is very much a Star Wars feeling film, from the set pieces that we get to the various worlds that we visit and the aliens, all the practical effects we get in here, just like we had in The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. We get a lot of practical effects in here, and I really loved that. The blend of the CGI and practical and the alien makeup, the fact that they are right there adds so much, and we still have that, and that has been consistent throughout all three films, and I really appreciate that, and it just adds so much to the feel of this overall, this franchise, and really making it, gel and feel like it's all in one world. Now, we have Kylo Ren being played by Adam Driver again, and let me tell you, I really liked what they did with his character in this film, though you do see it coming. I did like the setup and what they did with this, with him, and of course his performance. Where this character has come from when we first saw him, I think it is a really great change in what you kind of want to see in a character over this arc. Maybe not as much change as you're hoping for, but still, it is great to see what they've done to this character. Same way with Rey. Rey is still a very strong, powerful character in this, and she too has grown over the course of these films, and it's great to see what they did with her character, and they do come up with a few twists and turns for her, and I appreciated those challenges as well, and those parts really felt like Star Wars. In fact, I loved the story between Kylo Ren and Rey. I've enjoyed it throughout this series, this trilogy, and to see it here, it really comes into focus and to a head. And outside of one choice that they made at the end, for the most part, I really enjoyed what they did with the relationship and where they took these characters. As far as everybody else is concerned, getting to see the characters I grew up with back was great. It was bittersweet seeing Leia, Carrie Fisher, in this role. It was great seeing Lando in the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon. Of course, Chewie is back, and it's great to see these classic characters. There's going to be some other surprises as well in this film that is probably going to make you give you a smile on your face. I know it did for the audience that we saw it with. Now, as far as the Poe and Finn characters, we do get some growth with them, though even throughout most of this series, except for maybe Last Jedi, these characters have had kind of not so much developed with them. And I think it unfortunately is because we have so many characters in this franchise, and especially that were introduced in the last two films, to have it all culminate here and try to give proper attention and growth and some things for these characters to feel like they've developed over. It's got to be a daunting task for J.J. Abrams to take on, and I think he succeeds very well in this for what he had to try to do, though as a film by itself, Rise of Skywalker is a bit of a mess, but if you look at it as the bookend to the entire other 8 films, it fits in well. You could see where if you marathoned all of these, I think the storylines and the breakneck speed with which we plow through some things and the references would work better in a full marathon like that for over the course of like 3 days, but it's still, you watch them back to back to back. I think Rise of the Skywalker fits in better that way than as a story by itself, though it surprises me after seeing it the amount of stuff that we have in this film, why they didn't almost break it up into 2 parts, because it would have been great, because there are some ideas in here that we touch on and never explore, and that was a bit disappointing, because I'm like, oh, that's going to be really cool, and then we move on, because you just have to cover so much ground in so little time. Especially the opening of this film, it really plows through a chunk of story that you almost wish you could have explored more. Now, we do get some very interesting elements. It is no spoiler or surprise that, yes, a certain foe comes back, and we get some exploration into that side that we haven't seen in the films before, and I loved that bit of the storytelling as well. I really did. Unfortunately for me, the downfall was a bit of the predictability. There were a couple of minor surprises in here, but for the most part, if you watched even 2 of the trailers, and you know this franchise as well as I have for 42 years, at least the movies, not the books or anything else, you might find this film to be a lot predictable. That doesn't mean that it's necessarily bad, but it was a little bit disappointing considering I really enjoyed Last Jedi, and now I just lost my entire audience. But yes, I did really enjoy Last Jedi, and I liked the new things and where they were going to possibly go unexpectedly. But here, J.J. Abrams does feel like he's playing it a bit safe. Not only that, it feels like some things were inserted in here because of the outrage that was online after The Last Jedi, which is a little disappointing to see. Overall, though, I did enjoy this film. I think it should be seen on the big screen. It is fun for the whole family. If you have watched this series, I think you'll love all the references and especially some of the surprise scenes that we get in here. And overall, I gave it 4 stubs. Now, that is the lowest rating I have given out of the last 3 films. But it's still a solid film. It feels like a Star Wars film, but this one plays out much like Return of the Jedi did, to where, it was more of just kind of summing things up, and there isn't much more in here as far as a standalone story, but as far as the bookend to the entire saga, I think many of you out there will enjoy it. So 4 stubs, still see it, still worth the price of admission, and I'm sure you'll still be clapping with the rest of the audience at the end. I know we were when we saw it at the premiere night. So thank you so much for hearing my ramblings of this. I'm sure many people have thoughts on this and have expressed it. If you have some constructive thoughts, I'd love to hear them. Also, check out our spoiler room where we're going to be spoiling the hell out of this film and getting into the nitty-gritty and, yes, getting nitpicky with this film. So tune in for that soon, early next week. That'll be on our podcast channel, as well as I'm going to post the episode up here as well. So thank you so much for watching and your support. Subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, remember, keep your ticket stub, and may the Force be with you.